What's going on, guys? Jay Hoyt back with you today. Very interesting video as the Senators have shocked the NHL nation, and we're going to talk about it. So if you guys didn't know, the Senators ended up trading one of their top young players in Mika Zibanejad. Now, he's not a prospect. He's been playing the NHL, but to get rid of a guy that's 23 years old, playing on your second line, and most likely your future star player, kind of questionable. So we're going to talk about it, and I'll get you guys' opinions at the end. So Mika Zibanejad, if you guys didn't know, 23 years old. He's a centerman. He's upcoming. He's progressed every single year. I'm going to throw his stats up on the screen now so you guys can see he's been, every year he's been in the NHL, he's been improving. It's not like he's, you know, the Jared Cowan situation where he's been on the third line, you know, seventh defenseman, you know, out of the lineup, injured. That not really a factor with him. He's been in the lineup, he's been playing, and he's been doing very, very well. So if you guys didn't see the trade, we're going to talk about that real quick. The trade ended up being Zibanejad from Ottawa and a second-round draft pick in 2018 to the New York Rangers in exchange for Derek Brassard and a 7th-round pick. So the overall thoughts on this trade from me, this is just my opinion. I haven't really, you know, catered to all of the other opinions I've seen, but in my personal opinion, I don't think it's a good trade. I know Ottawa's in a win now mentality since, you know, Pierre Dorian took over, but no matter how you think of it, no matter what mindset you're in, no matter what mentality you're bringing to the table, I do not think this is a good move. And the reason I say that is Derek Brassard is obviously a very good player, or else, you know, they wouldn't have even thought about getting him. So Derek Brassard, 28 years old, about to be 29 in September. He's a good player. He's a second line player. He could be on the first line. He's gonna be he's gonna provide a very good 1-2 punch with Kyle Turris and Derek Brassard. So I'm not saying, you know, Brassard's a bad player. I just don't think we should have made this trade. So Ottawa being in a want to win now mentality means that they want to get the best players. However, they don't want to improve areas that they actually need, right? All these, you know, things they say they need. I know they said they wanted to add a veteran presence on defense, especially on the third pairing / seventh defenseman part, and they haven't done that. They've been, you know, signing a bunch of depth forwards, and they haven't really, you know, been even attempting to go after any defenseman that, you know, we've heard of. Usually, you know, there's rumors out saying, oh, you know, this team's interested in this guy. Usually it's end up closing, or they're closing in on a deal, and they just haven't announced it yet, right? But with Ottawa, they're a budget team, right? They've said it from the beginning, you know, since even Brian Murray was still there. They're a budget team. They don't want to go out and make the biggest splash in free agencies, you know, spend a ton of money on, you know, big free agents. They don't go after those type of guys. Why? I'm not exactly sure. The main thing that doesn't make sense to me during this trade is Zibanejad, like I said, is 23 years old. You guys saw his stats. His contract's up after next year, and he's a restricted free agent, right? But what doesn't make sense to me is he's 23, he's playing second line numbers, constantly improving, and is a very good, you know, second line player. Probably gonna play in the second line, you know, most of this year, unless, you know, something happens to Turris, or, you know, just better chemistry with other players, or just say if, you know, Zibanejad has better chemistry with, I don't know, Hoffman and Stone, or, you know, Stone and MacArthur, or, you know, Hoffman and Ryan, or, you know, other players that would cause, you know, Turris to move down, and then you have, you know, you would have Zibanejad on the first line. He could show off his talents, you know, he's playing top line minutes, and he can show himself. But now, since they traded him, he's going to go to a New York team who's, you know, they want to, you know, invest in their future because, you know, they have some really good players, but that are just not really performing extremely, you know, to their standards. And with Zibanejad, he's 23 years old, so he can grow. They're going to have to sign him after next year. So unless, you know, they just don't sign him, don't, you know, qualify him, don't anything like that, then hopefully maybe Ottawa would try to get him back, because then, you know, Brassard's 28 years old. Like I said, he's going to be 29 in September. And he's not going to be, you know, this good for very much longer. That didn't really make sense. But you get what I mean? Like, he's not going to be a standout, you know, could be first liner, second liner for the next, just say, 5 years, right? Zibanejad is still growing. He's putting up just under Brassard's numbers at 5 years younger. Less money, and at 5 years younger. So with a team that's, you know, a very young team to begin with in Ottawa, trying to get, you know, some experience, trying to get some, you know, good players in, and then they get rid of their next big superstar. Like, this isn't a Jared Cowan situation where, you know, he was drafted, you know, top 10 or, you know, in the first round, and then he becomes absolutely awful, he gets injured a lot, and is just not a good player, right? Zibanejad was playing second line, and he was, you know, progressing. He was doing very well for, you know, what his role was, and he's been improving. So you think at 24 years old sometime this year that he's not going to become that first line, second line phenom with the Rangers. Now he's got, you know, Kreider, who's going to be re-signed most likely. Then you got Rick Nash, you got Zuccarello, you got all those guys to put around Zibanejad, and yet you just don't. I just don't get that. Why trade away your future star for someone who's going to be good for, you know, only the next like couple years, and he's going to start declining, you know, wanting the same amount of money he wants now, and pay Zibanejad the same amount of money for being 5 years younger. That's what I don't get. That's a huge part for me. He's 5 years younger, and you get rid of him when he's doing basically the same thing. Now, not to mention only, you know, Brassard and Zibanejad. It's not just a 1-for-1. Ottawa also threw in a second round pick. What? Ottawa, what are we doing? One, you're not drafting like as well as you used to, and then you go in and throw in a second round pick? How is this fair at all? You're giving away a guy who's basically giving the same amount of production as Brassard, 5 years younger, less contract, and he's going to be a superstar. Not a superstar. He's going to be a star within no time, right? He's going to go to New York where he can play in the first line or even second line behind Stepan, ahead of Stepan, you know, with Rick Nash, you know, whoever else is on their first line, and he's going to, you know, perform. Unless he goes through this a huge slump and, you know, I'm just completely wrong. I see Zibanejad excelling very well this year, right? He's had, you know, really good stats in the past, and he plays well, right? He's been improving. Obviously, everyone has something to work on, and he's been that guy. But as for Brassard coming into Ottawa, I know I've seen he's a hometown boy. You can see his stats on the screen now. I know it's a little bit later than what I showed Zibanejad as, but as you can see, you know, just Brassard's putting up basically the same numbers, a little bit more, but it's just what Zibanejad's going to be compared to what Brassard is now is my main argument here, right? I know my opinion is not the only one that matters, but I want to hear your guys' opinion. If you're a Sens fan, if you're a hockey fan in general, let me know what you guys think. Now, basically what I'm trying to say is, you know, Zibanejad's a good future, right? A future first line guy, and Brassard could be that first line guy now if it wasn't for Turris, but I think it's a bad move, honestly. And in all reality, and then just say if you're planning for the next 5 years, this is a really bad move, right? Brassard's going to be 33, 34. Zibanejad's going to be 28, right? I just don't think it's a good move. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more. Anyway, guys, I'll see you later.